You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Good morning and welcome to Orange County's longest running business talk show. I am your host, Rick Franzi, and boy, do we have a great show planned for you today. This is one in our series of focusing on nonprofits in Orange County. It's an honor to have Nicole Suydam, the CEO and president of Goodwill Orange County, as our guest. Hi, Nicole.
Hello. Thanks for having me on again.
Obviously, she's a repeat guest. She's come before to talk about the organizations that she was leading at the time. So let's talk a little bit about your professional background and then your path to Goodwill OC. Take us through your background a little bit, Nicole.
Sure. Well, it's kind of interesting because this year marks 25 years for me in the nonprofit sector. And so I can't believe it. It's gone so fast. And I've actually worked at two nonprofits twice now. So the Second Harvest Food Bank and Goodwill of Orange County. Second Harvest was where I started my nonprofit career and was there for, that first, 5 years of my nonprofit career. And then my husband and I had moved to Washington, D.C. for, career opportunity. And we were there a couple of years, moved back, right, to come to Goodwill, then went back to Second Harvest, then came back to Goodwill. So it's been an incredible 25 years of working at, two organizations that I, truly love and I'm passionate about the mission.
What is it about the nonprofit sector that first got you interested in making a career of it?
From my perspective, I've always been interested in doing anything that helps others. It's, really, I think part of that is my own upbringing. Growing up in a single parent home, my mom, struggled to make ends meet. And I just always saw how giving and how much time she volunteered and all the things she did, even though she didn't have a whole lot, she was always committed to helping others. And also my grandmother. I think those are the two, between my mom and my grandmother, have really inspired me to want to, do for others and want to help. And that's really the impetus for it.
So let's talk about the mission of Goodwill Orange County. Can you help us to understand the focus and the mission?
Sure. So we're most known for our stores, our donation centers, but we're most proud of what we're doing to change lives and to help people who are facing barriers find and keep jobs. That is really the core mission. That is why the retail stores and the donation centers exist. They are part of what we call our employment social enterprise. It's an opportunity for us to have, people who have barriers to employment work at our donation centers, work in our stores, work throughout the whole organization. And in getting that work experience, some of them will grow at their career here at Goodwill of Orange County, and others will get them jobs outside in other companies in the community.
And that is a part of Goodwill that came to my attention a few years ago because, frankly, I had a guest here on the podcast who was working in partnership with Goodwill to bring in employees. And so I'm wondering, yes, could you talk a little bit about that service that you're providing to Orange County businesses as well?
Exactly. So what we do is we make the match between individuals who are looking for jobs in the community. They might have some kind of barrier to employment. So it could be that they have a disability, maybe lack of long-term work experience. And we find employers in the community who match their skills and ability. And then we help make the introduction. We might support them with the interview. I'll give you an example. If somebody has, their barrier might be that they are deaf or hard of hearing. We can provide an interpreter for that interview. We can also help the employer, and if with any kind of, maybe they might have concerns about how to hire somebody who's deaf. How do we communicate with them? How do we work with them? We're able to alleviate those concerns and provide support to the employer.
And what are you finding as far as the success of the employees that you help the employer find in place? And
really the biggest, I think, success when we make those matches is that the employer finds that they have a loyal, dedicated, somebody who comes to work on time, they have a great attitude, they're excited to be there, and they lift the whole morale. And oftentimes I think, employers that hire the people we serve, they don't realize that that's going to be the biggest benefit of making the hire. And they come to realize that very quickly once the individual is placed and working on site.
Nicole, one of the stories that I remember that was told to me by one of these Orange County employers that employ several of your people that you've brought to them, is that one day one of the employees came in and showed a rental agreement for an apartment, which was the first time the individual was able to rent an apartment because he could demonstrate he was living in a group home and he could demonstrate that he had steady income and employment. So he was able to get a lease for an apartment, which was a major move forward in the way that he saw his life and independence.
Life-changing, right? To be able to support your family, yourself. We have individuals. I can think of a young man who he arrived here by our HR office, and he was coming out of his van, and our HR director was right outside the building, and he went up to our head of HR and said, do you hire people with disabilities? So this was a young man in a wheelchair, and my HR person went, yes, definitely. And we're thinking, wow, we have a lot of work to do to raise awareness about the fact that, we do this for the community, that, we provide jobs for people who have disabilities and other barriers. And it was so interesting because, the head of HR, looked at him and said, oh yeah, come on in. We're going to get you an application. And he's working now in our e-commerce department. And he's excited to be here. He's learning new skills. And this is the first job he's had since the accident that where he became paralyzed. And now he has a sense of that, pride and dignity, the paycheck he's able to contribute to. He lives with his mom and younger sister. He's able to contribute to his family and loves his work. And it was just so interesting that, he asked that question. Well, I'm not going to bother applying unless you really are, serious about hiring someone who's in a wheelchair. And it was just this, amazing opportunity to, bring him in. And now he's growing with us.
I think this is a fantastic service that you provide to Orange County entrepreneurs and business owners to bring them people that have skills and talent. We all have on our resume maybe areas where we are uncomfortable a little bit about something or an experience. Maybe you don't because your career has been meteoric, but a lot of people.
No, we all do. Yes.
Right. And so imagine, I'm talking to the audience now, but imagine if in addition to that, you might have a disability that people would factor into the hiring decision, and to be able to get over that hurdle, I think can be difficult at times. And you helping them to find work, I'm not sure what is more important than for people who need to build their life again to have the opportunity to have steady employment and feel like they're contributing.
Exactly. And that's really what it's all about. Yeah.
So
being able to feel that sense of pride and dignity.
How does someone find out about that part of what Goodwill does?
On our website, ocgoodwill.org, that is where employers could actually look to see, okay, how do I hire somebody, that is served by Goodwill? And we have individuals that will contact them, go meet with them, and do an assessment to see, okay, what's the job that's available here, and then find the actual employee for them and make that match. I just learned the other day that we made a match at a local nonprofit, South County Outreach. So they provide food and services to people who are in need. And the CEO there a couple months back, Laval, he reached out to me and said, hey, Nicole, I want to hire somebody from Goodwill. I want to provide them training. And maybe this will be an opportunity for them to learn here, working with food and groceries, and then getting a job at a regular grocery store, right? And so I thought, oh, that's great. And I put him in touch with one of my team members, and the individual just started working there a couple days ago. So I love it how, our community also, right? Even the nonprofits in the community, we're all supporting each other.
So there's always a place of constraint in business opportunities. Do you have more candidates than you have places to employ them, or do you have more opportunities to place people than you have candidates right now?
Right now, it's more opportunities. It's interesting you say that, because for the first time ever, we're having more employers call us versus the other way around, where we have to call them and talk them into hiring people. We're actually having more job opportunities than we're even able to fill right now, which is an unusual situation. But it's also good that employers are recognizing that, we can provide them with a well-trained person who's motivated and excited to come to work and to grow with them.
And kind of put a bow on this, from my direct experience talking to some entrepreneurs who have hired people through your service, the impact of that employee is what you said earlier too, which is they're on time, they appreciate the opportunity, they use all of their skills and talents, and they do have an uplifting effect on other people, not only from a work ethic, but a comfort level with working with people who may have a disability of some type.
Exactly. So many success stories. You probably have an individual. I think we have a man named Will in common who hired a woman named Jen. And Jen had gone on, 80 something interviews and was told no every time, right? And she's a person with physical disability in a wheelchair. And I think most of the employers looked at her and said, how can you work? Like how do you function? Because she didn't have a lot of movement, right? But she's still working for Will several years later now. And, providing, because I just emailed with him recently and I said, hey, how's Jen doing? Is she still working for you? He's like, yep. And I couldn't do my job without her. And I just love that.
Yeah, and he is one of the people that I'm thinking about, because I met Jen because we had a meeting of people that are doing podcasts, and Will does a podcast as well, the Pilgrim on the 405, and I met Jen at that, and she was highly competent at what she was doing as a producer for his show, and that was
well educated, right?
Right.
Bachelor's degree, master's degree, and motivated to work, and Will gave her that chance, and that's really what we're looking for: people to give. People with disabilities, people who have these barriers, a chance.
And so maybe through you being on this show, maybe additional employers will be reaching out to you, because we all know how hard it is in this environment to find good long-term employees. And my experience, based on direct feedback from entrepreneurs, is Goodwill is a great place to find talented, loyal employees. And so
exactly. Bring it. Call us.
So Goodwill is a recognized name. You have storefronts, etc. I'm sure many of the people that are listening to the show have donated something to you so that you can repurpose it. But I'm wondering, in addition to what we've talked about, is there something else about your organization that the average person in Orange County may not know?
Yeah, it's often a surprise to people to learn that we own and operate an e-commerce platform called shopgoodwill.com. I'll let you all go ahead and go on there right now, shopgoodwill.com. You can find some of the most amazing things on there. It could be anything from jewelry to artwork, collectibles, electronics, toys, games, you name it. And that platform was really the brainchild of the CEO of Goodwill of Orange County more than 22 years ago. He saw what eBay was doing in terms of all the product that was going online and being sold by, single individuals. And he thought, gosh, we have that kind of inventory. We should be online too. And so, way before e-commerce became a thing, we were on there. So 22 and a half years now that site was launched. It last year, it reached 1 billion in total sales since the inception of the site. Now, this serves all of the Goodwills. There's about 130 individual Goodwill organizations, just like mine here in Orange County, that they are posting items on it often. And what's great about it, right? We're a social enterprise. So the individuals who are posting these items, who are processing the donations, are also the people we serve, right? The people we're providing jobs to. So it just has this, win-win opportunity, because we're maximizing the value of the donations, providing jobs while we do that, And then there's a marketplace of customers that, want to find these goods. And I'll tell you, just the other day, I go on Shop Goodwill all the time. And so I have my Apple Watch and I needed a new band. I found a brand new Apple Watch band on shopgoodwill.com. I spent $20 total,
Wow.
right? I went on and bid. I was the winning bidder. And then with the shipping and handling, $20. It arrived to my home and boom.
Thank you for sharing that. And that 1 billion in aggregate sales is a significant achievement. Congratulations on
It's
continuing
huge.
the
Yeah,
growth.
and it's accelerating the last few years too. And
Right.
we're very committed to, keeping that, keeping it forward thinking and modern and investing in it.
How many employees does Goodwill Orange County have?
We have 1,200 employees. And then there's about another 600 that are on payroll that are more within our programs. They get paid work experience working for us. So, 1,800 total on payroll, but 1,200 that would be kind of more of our regular full-time employees, mostly full-time. We have part-time employees as well.
So you sort of suggested the structure of Goodwill as an organization. Can you step back? Can you step us back for just a second and tell us how did Goodwill get started and how is it currently structured?
Sure. So I'll start from the top. We are a member of Goodwill Industries International. So as a membership organization, we pay membership dues to them to, be able to have license to the brand, right? So, we have permission to use the brand, plus to be part of this, wonderful network of over 150 Goodwills. So our Goodwill actually started 98 years ago. We have our centennial anniversary coming up in 2 years. When we first started, we were part of the Goodwill in Los Angeles. So they call themselves Goodwill Southern California. And so we were initially part of their nonprofit umbrella, and then we became our own nonprofit some years after our founding. So we're looking forward to in 2024, celebrating this major milestone for the community.
That's excellent. I'm wondering, what's been the impact on your organization of COVID-19?
That is a loaded question. It's amazing to think that this has been going on for almost 2 years, right? So the initial impact, just like all other businesses and retail establishments, because we have most of our workforce right out in the community working in our stores and donation centers, and then supporting people in our programs. So initially, when we had to shut down all of our retail stores, think about this for a second. Our retail stores bring in about 5 million or more, sometimes 6 million in revenue per month to support our social enterprise. And so when our stores closed, we had none of that revenue coming in for almost 3 months. And we did not qualify initially for the PPP loan. Mm-hmm. Because we have more than 500 employees, we just didn't qualify. And so we had that double whammy of, not being able to be open and not qualifying for any of that government assistance. We did get assistance with the employee retention tax credit. So that's helpful. But even those dollars haven't come in yet from the IRS. We're still waiting for them. Probably like
many are. Yes.
Yeah. So, we really, it was very stressful and a very difficult time. But I think, we worked really closely with a core group of our board of directors and, of course, my leadership team. And, we just managed day-to-day cash flow and making sure we'd stay strong and, sustainable through this. But yeah, it was, there were moments where I just was, this is a really intense time. And of course, we had to furlough about 836. I remember the number on the list. It was 836 people we had to furlough when we, realized we were going to be closed for some time. And we actually chose the furlough versus the layoff because we wanted to still have that connection to our team members. And, we knew health insurance is important to people. So we were still covering, our portion of the health insurance and, staying committed. So when we reopened, it was amazing. That first group of employees we brought back, because we opened about 8 stores at a time of the 23, 24 stores we have. And they were eager to come back. They were excited. And I think part of that was that we kept that connection to them with the furlough. We didn't lay them off. We didn't terminate, we still kept them. And so that helped us tremendously when we went into that phasing of the reopening. And then just, it's been great from there in terms of our ability to grow the sales. We actually had our best year ever last year in the retail operation.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, record year. The part that's been challenging, though, has been the off and on being able to be in person with the people we serve and then having to go back to virtual. That's been really hard. But I think I commend my team because they've been incredibly resourceful, creative, and they just have such a commitment to the mission that they always want to make sure the people we serve are supported. And I mean, they have really gone above and beyond. I heard a story the other day about one of my team members supporting a client at 2 a.m. who needed help. Right. I mean, so we have such a dedicated group of, people who are in our mission services operation. And they want to see the people we serve be successful.
And I'm sure you highlighted some parts of your organization. It's been my experience too that in large organizations such as your HR department is doing just extra overtime work.
Oh my gosh,
they are to be recognized.
I am just blown away by our HR team. At one point at the start of the new year, right now we're in 2022. And obviously COVID was, going, spreading like wildfire, right? We had, about 180 people out on LOA, leave of absence. And of that 180, about 150 or 60 were COVID related. I mean, it was just insane. And then finally over the last few days, we're down to now 60, maybe a little bit less than 60 that are out on some kind of COVID leave. So it's been just an intense start to the year.
It has been. And so thank you for giving us that sense of a larger organization in Orange County and how COVID has impacted you. I see that, shifting our focus, I see that Goodwill is now a podcasting entity. So talk about the inspiration for Goodwill Orange County to start a podcast.
So probably a few months after I started, maybe sometime that first year, we started a podcast called Sharing Goodwill. And I think the inspiration for it was, we hear so many negative stories every day, right? You open your phone, you turn the TV on, and we just wanted to do something that was positive and that highlighted not just Goodwill of Orange County and what we do, but the good that's happening in the community, other nonprofits, other individuals. And so we've had an opportunity to interview some really incredible people, people who represent causes or missions. And in some cases, they might be, just really great stories of something positive that's happening. And so we want to really promote that as much as possible. It's just part of our brand to share Goodwill.
Do you like doing it?
I do, but we're going to have some of my other team members host the show as well. Just so we can get, be a little bit more aggressive on how often that we post a show and do it, because my schedule is limited in terms of how often I can do it. So I think, having the opportunity for other leaders in Orange County, in our Orange County Goodwill, to host the show is one of our goals for the year.
Shifting our focus one more time to your upcoming golf event. Can you tell us a little bit more about the golf outing?
Yes, we have our upcoming golf tournament coming up on May the 25th at the Pelican Hill Golf Club, beautiful golf club here in Newport Coast. And what is great about the golf tournament is it specifically supports what we call our Tierney Center for Veteran Services. So this is a program all about finding and supporting veterans, helping them with employment, referring them to other nonprofit organizations for any kind of services they need. And so what I love about it is the people who can come out and support it. whether they play or just support the tournament. It's really going to a great specific cause and purpose and supporting our heroes and our veterans.
Do you golf?
I try to golf. I wouldn't say I'm great. I have golf clubs. Occasionally, I'll go out with my husband and we'll golf 9 holes. He's more of the golfer of the household. He golfs a couple times a week, and occasionally I'll get out there for fun with him. I won't score myself because it just isn't even worth it.
It's so beautiful to be on the golf course. It's a great way to spend some time, especially together. Are there still foursomes available for people to reserve if they're interested?
Yes. We're going to start promoting the tournament later this month, and so we'll have some information about it on our website in a few weeks, and we'll be promoting it from there.
Great. So let's turn your attention to the future. Can you describe, in your position, what you see are the major opportunities or growth initiatives, or how Goodwill Orange County will change over the future?
Yeah, well, it's a great you asked that question, because just this week we met with our consultant. We are going to be doing a new strategic plan. This year is our last year of the current plan. This is the plan that I put in place when I got here. And it was really foundational. The plan that I put in place is, maximizing our donated goods retail program, which we have done even with COVID. Really focusing on our workforce development programs for people with barriers, engaging and growing our team members, and then obviously growing the Shop Goodwill business. So those are our main initiatives as I was coming in. I think some of that will carry over into the new plan. But what we're going to be doing right now is a community needs assessment. We really want to understand, based on who we're serving, what we've been doing, our unique position in the community, where should we be growing our services? Where can we refine what we're doing? I want to make sure that we don't duplicate anything already happening. We want to complement what's happening in the community, work with other nonprofits, strengthen the partnerships. But really, I think the next strategic plan needs to be all about, what are we going to do to reach more people, change more lives, through this social enterprise that we have. And so we're going to take a real close look at that. And then at the same time, look at the growth of our retail operation. The last couple of years, because of COVID, we haven't had the opportunity to grow that footprint of stores. And I believe we have an opportunity to grow that. All the data points to the fact that there's still opportunities in this county. It's just a matter of finding, we talk about finding employment, right, for people with disabilities. It's also hard to find retail stores in Orange County, because sometimes there's this perception that if you're going to have a thrift store in a certain shopping center, that where it's almost perceived as negative. And our stores, we really pride ourselves in having clean, well merchandised, a fun shopping experience for the people coming to our stores. And so we've got to do some work to make sure that these retail shopping center owners see the value of having Goodwill in their shopping center. So that's going to be, as we move ahead, we're going to have to do a lot of work there, because sometimes it's hard to get a landowner to even let us in a shopping center.
Until you said that, I didn't make that connection, but I could see that I live in San Juan Capistrano, and we have a very nice Goodwill center here. I mean, it's in a good mall, and it's beautifully decorated, and I've been through it, and there's great merchandise. I've been both to the back to give, and then in the front and into the store to see what there is to purchase.
Exactly. And all the data points to the fact that that thrift and the sustainability of reuse is going to be continuing to be an important area of growth for retail. And the younger generation loves and appreciates it. So we know that we can grow in Orange County. We know we have the ability to grow. It's just a matter of finding the places. So we've pinpointed, certain areas of the county we want to get into. One, I will tell you, is Irvine. But for whatever reason, we haven't been able to get into Irvine yet. So definitely I need a lot of help with that for any of your listeners who have influence with a certain major Irvine company.
Yes, say no more. They might be listening.
Yeah. We feel like we're making headway, but so far we have not been approved at any of those wonderful shopping centers in Irvine, and we would love to be in Irvine.
And you should be.
And we should be, right?
Well, we had the mayor of Irvine on our show, I think 2 weeks ago. So Farah,
Yes.
I don't know how much influence.
I got some relationship building to do in Irvine.
All right. Well, if someone would like to learn more about all the things that we've kind of talked about briefly here on the show, where would you suggest they go to learn more?
ocgoodwill.org is where you can find out about how to employ the people we serve, how to shop at any of our stores, where to donate in the county, and also how to give, how to support some of the programs we're doing for veterans and people with disabilities, young people who are justice involved.
And if you happen to be listening to the show and you know someone who might benefit from working with Goodwill to find placement, it sounds like Goodwill is interested in looking for qualified candidates as well. So tell a friend, that would be good as well.
Definitely.
Well,
thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure to have you back on the program, and looking forward to it since you said you had time to be a guest. And so thanks for coming back and being a friend of our program.
Oh, I love it. I appreciate what you do to lift up, nonprofits, small businesses in the community. And, your show is, definitely well regarded. So I love being here. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Nicole. Nicole was episode number 1,344 in our catalog.
Woo-hoo!
This is Orange County's longest running business talk show. If you're an Orange County entrepreneur or a leader of a nonprofit organization and you would like to share your story, reach out to me on LinkedIn. And I'm Rick, R-I-C, Franzi, F-R-A-N-Z-I, or visit my website, rickfranzi.com. And until the next time we have a chance to be together, I hope all of your business decisions will move your organization in a positive direction.